Hey allies, it's Seth Cuts up here with the Alliance Dance Network. Today we are hanging out live via Google Hangouts with a professional dancer, makeup artist, and choreographer from Atlanta, Georgia. Our guest today has had her work showcased around the globe, as well as on The View, The Wendy Williams Show, 106 in Park, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Monique Show, Monsters of Hip Hop, and on Atlanta's McClendon Performing Arts Institute stage. She has trained with many seasoned choreographers like Nappy Tabs, Luther Brown, Shanique Sneed, Kevin Marr, Tony Testa, Rhapsody James, Sean Bankhead, and Chuck Maldonado. Working with these great choreographers prepared her to book gigs with CeeLo Green, the TV show The Fresh Beat Band, and the LA Carnival Choreographers Ball in 2009. She also worked with Britney Spears and assisted
Jaquil Knight,
the choreographer who choreographed Beyonce's Single Ladies video on her 2009 Circus tour. From 2010 to 2011, she choreographed, coordinated, and performed in 3 international tours with 6-time Grammy-nominated recording artist B.o.B, titled The Adventures of Bobby Ray promo tour, the B.o.B opening feature on the Rihanna Loud tour, and the Strange Clouds promo tour. She also had a hand in creating, choreographing, and producing the following videos for B.o.B: Bet I, No Man's Land, Strange Clouds, and Can Be Seen Dancing in Ray-Bans. Through working with B.o.B, she also had the opportunity to dance behind Barack Obama during B.o.B's performance at the 2010 Gen 44 Summit concert in Washington, D.C. Not only is our guest a dancer, she also earned a degree in makeup artistry from Elegance International Professional School of Makeup. And in June of 2014, she came to Milwaukee, Wisconsin with B.o.B and held her prime audition experience with the Soul Matter Movement Dance Company. Currently, our guest is teaching in Atlanta, working as a freelance makeup artist, developing up-and-coming recording artist Demetria McKinney from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, expanding her Print Life brand, and is an ongoing advocate for multiple children organizations. So, without further ado, the Alliance Dance Network and myself would like to give a very warm welcome to Tiffany
Burgess.
Hello, Tiffany. How are you doing today?
Hi, everybody. I'm good, doing well. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let's begin. So how old are you, Tiffany?
I'm 26 years old, and let's see, I was born in December 28, 1988, so that makes me a Capricorn.
Okay. How old were you when you began dancing, and where did you train growing up?
My earliest experience with dance was at about 2 years old. My parents signed me up for, technical dance, ballet, tap, and jazz, for a 2-year-old. So, so that's where I kind of got the first exposure to movement and knowing that there are even different ways that you can dance. Putting on style of shoe, and then that means that's ballet. And you change the shoe, and that means that's tap. Just getting that exposure. So I started with that at a very early age.
Did you start at which dance studio did you start at, or where is it?
I actually started at you mentioned it already, at McClendon Performing Arts Institute. So it's a studio that I currently teach at, but it's also where I trained at from 2 all the way up through my teens. So same director, I just work for her now. So that's kind of cool.
Okay. And she, yeah. I also read in your bio too, she's the first African-American woman to start an all
African dance school, yeah, out of Atlanta, and she's been going for over 30 years. And star Saida, who dances for Usher. She's trained Ambria, who dances for Pharrell. Just some really good dancers who have come through Atlanta who are actually technically trained first. Yeah. She was the person to train them. So she's very popular here in Atlanta as far as getting your core foundation of dance.
So speaking of the all African American dance studio, I was watching your work, and what I noticed was, compared to Green Bay, Wisconsin, it was refreshing to see all African-American female dancers? Because in Green Bay, it's all white girls compared to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's true. Of course, African-American girls aren't really, I won't say expected to be ballet dancers, because it's not even that. It's just that our bodies are a lot different than other races. So, you know, what ballet and tap and jazz requires of your body typically aren't things that Black girls like to do, or African-American people, you know, are used to doing with their bodies. So it's not really typical that we would be ballerinas, or, you know, you have your Misty Copelands now, and, you know, professional ballet dancers who are really, really handling their business on the floor as far as technical dance. So with this studio, that's why I find it very special. And I think that's why my parents found it special when they first found it, was because they get to give me an experience of learning really technical styles of dance in a professional environment. But I'm getting to learn them in a sense of how to use as far as the movements, and having someone train me who understood all of that as well. So that's what makes McClendon very special. But to answer your question, you do experience it in a lot of different places. It is the same. And even out here in Atlanta, we still have, you know, studios that may not be predominantly African-American, and, you know, they beast in ballet and tap and jazz. But our girls at our studio, we expose them to all styles of movement, all types of studios. We attend a lot of events where we get to see these studios and see what they're working with, so that we know what we need to do and how we need to train as well. So.
Well, I just found that interesting to see something different. Like I said, I'm from Green Bay, so growing up, I always took classes with white girls, and probably not different to you guys, because, you know, it's in Atlanta. You know, you guys, it's the population is more African-American based, right? And so how did you get the nickname Tiff Be Dancing?
Well, it actually comes from my friends. I actually have a really special group of friends who are all famous, wonderful choreographers and dancers. But I actually grew up with Jaquel Knight and Sean Bankhead and Cody Wiggins and Xavier Wilcher. All of them are, you know, they're dancing for all kinds of people and choreographing for all kinds of people now. But these were actually my friends coming up. We grew up dancing, training together. And so as I started to kind of train more and get better and better, I kind of learned, you know, I kind of had a sense of my fierceness, and I started to, you know, learn how to dance with my hair, and, you know, being able to whip my hair correctly while I was moving. And my friends would always say, like, man, Tiffany, like, you be dancing, like, you dance really hard, you know, you go for it. So, and also my last name is Burgess, so that's B, Tiff B.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of put two together, you know, Tiff B dancing, and then Tiff B, as in Tiffany Burgess, you know, dancing. So it kind of works in a few different ways, but that's how I came up with it.
Moving on to your high school, you know, performing arts training. So you are the captain of Tucker High School's 14-karat gold drill team. Can you kind of talk about that and how it prepared you for working in the dance industry?
Yeah. Well, just so that we can be clear with everybody, I don't know if people are currently watching the show, but they do like drill team style movement, like auxiliary is what we call it here in the South, to marching band and field shows, so things like that. So it's a very Southern style of movement, and a very precise style of movement as well, almost like military meets dance a little bit. So so that's what the drill team is. And I had, you know, kind of been training in ballet, tap, and jazz, but never really experienced drill team before. I just knew I liked the sound of the band, and I liked the idea of being able to dance while a band was playing, like literally right behind me. So I went out for the team as a freshman, and I wasn't supposed to make a captain position as a freshman or sophomore, freshman going into my sophomore year, but I actually ended up becoming the captain over a lot of seniors who were on the team. It's quite an interesting thing to pursue so young.
Do you think, since music and dance is so musicality driven, do you think that having that drill background, that refine your counting skills or choreography skills?
Yeah, when I could definitely tell the difference from dancers that I've met and danced with who may not have had the type of training and background that I've had. And I haven't had the most extensive amount of training. I know people who train, you know, as children 2 or 3 times as hard as me. But I did notice that having that background of discipline and being able to know how things should feel when they're correct, I thought that was really important. And I know that as I was growing older and starting to expose myself a little bit more into the dance industry, that was really necessary. And it was something that would always stand out on my resume. Like, people would always pick that out and say, oh, wow, you know, you're a technically trained dancer. Where'd you train at? You know, how many years? So it's something that people actually value, booking dancers or trying to find performers or things like that. So
when you moved out to Hollywood, why did you decide to move to LA?
Well, contrary to how it is now in Atlanta, Atlanta is on fire right now. But back in 2006, 2007, barely any film crews out here, hardly any movies being shot out here. I mean, music was really popular, but people would travel elsewhere to go film their music videos, or, you know, they were going to Hollywood anyway. So I did have access to choreographers, you know, through Monsters of Hip Hop and different conventions. And so they exposed me to what life was like in LA. And then from there, it was kind of like, I have to have it. I have to be out there, you know, and I just want to train with these people every day. I don't want to have to only see them, you know, once every couple of months when they come for a workshop. I want to be out there every day. And also, this was around the time that YouTube had first become like pretty popular. So it was like, now I got to actually see the videos of classes going down in LA, and it was like I was struck for training, just to elevate my career and see if I even had a shot at doing this professionally.
When you got to Hollywood, how did you get in contact with Nappy Tabs and Luther Brown and all the choreographers that you worked with?
Well, the good thing about it was that I invested so much time. I'm gonna say like 2 years before I graduated high school. I was using my weekends because I wasn't on the drill team anymore. I quit that because I wanted to pursue dance a little bit sooner. And I was using my weekends to go out of town and go to different conventions, monsters. Like, I would follow them everywhere they were in. Thank God I had parents who were supportive and who were able to help me and support me in getting me there. The point was to get to one convention, go hard, and get a scholarship so that I didn't have to pay for any of the other conventions for the year. So that's what I was doing, really hardcore. And as I was going, these choreographers are seeing me every weekend, and they're like, oh, Tiffany, you're back, you're back, you're back. And from there, you form relationships. You know, Nappy Tabs becomes just Napoleon and Tabitha. You become Tiffany to them. Or, you know, Rhapsody is just rap, and to you and to her, you know, so it's like they became family almost from being around them so much. And so moving out to LA was kind of just like, you know, the people were already there for me to correspond with, so I didn't really have to do too much of, you know, what is it, little fish in a big pond.
The foundation was laid for you, so when you came there, it wasn't foreign to you.
I just had to show up to classes at that point, and, you know, then the choreographers are like, oh my gosh, you live here now? Great, you know, now we can work. So when you were there, you trained probably at the Edge, IDA, Millennium, everywhere.
Any others?
The bus up and down, one studio to the next, Millennium. Of course, you have, like you said, Edge. You have your Debbie Reynolds. And then there's like so many other smaller studios and rehearsal studios. And then not only that, in LA, every apartment building pretty much has like a little dance studio downstairs that you can use. So that's not to mention all of the countless hours of just meeting together with dancers and just training, community at your apartment. So
to talk about Carnival, how did you get that opportunity?
Carnival, actually, my very first time performing at Carnival, I was in a class at Millennium. This is typically how it would happen back then. You would take class and people would just kind of stand in the back and spy on you and just kind of watch and see who they liked, especially if they had a piece coming up. And after you approached by somebody who's like, hey, I'm doing a piece in Carnival, would you like to be a part of it? And to me, Carnival was it. That was all I was watching on YouTube before I moved to LA. It was like Carnival was the big dance show. And so you hear those words, you know, somebody walks up to you and they're like, hey, do you want to be a part of my Carnival piece? And it's just like, you know, more like, of course, you know, I want to be a part of that. So
what was the theme and style of the piece?
The ones that I've done recently, I've actually done one choreographer. His name's Nate Adams. I do quite a bit of his Carnival. And he's very good with theming his pieces. So I know one in particular, we've done like a night in the museum where we had a really big cast. I mean, sometimes people bring up to like 300 people as a cast to Carnival sometimes. Like it gets really serious. So, I mean, the options are limitless as far as Carnival. So I've done all kinds of things with performances.
Do you know who started Carnival? Because, like, I mean, that's been around for probably a good 20 years, right?
A guy named Carrie, I believe he's the person who started it. He's also the person who still runs it to this day, and for all of these years, he and his wife. But he is actually an old school dancer, you know, original hip hop, hopper and locker, you know, style dancer. And I believe he's the one who created this showcase, and he still works in it now. You can see him participate in a Carnival. He's still there dancing every single time. Shout out to Carrie.
So let's move on to when you worked with Brittany and on the circus tour. You assisted him on the circus tour. Can you kind of just talk about, you know, how you got that opportunity and what it was like?
Sure. Well, of course, like I said earlier, Jaquel is one of my childhood friends. So we grew up together. There's a big part of the reason that I dance is because of what I learned from him and how we used to kind of move together. We did a lot of training and stuff. So Jaquel became the choreographer, or he had an opportunity to put 3 pieces into her circus tour. And of course, Britney Spears is a female artist, so he wanted some female input. And so he asked me to join his team, his choreography team, just so that he could try different parts of choreography on me. He can see how the hair needed to whip, and he could see how this needed to happen, that needed to happen for her. So, so we started working on choreography, and I also helped him through the audition. A huge cattle call. And I even auditioned myself for it just to see if I had a shot in it as well. And we had a great audition and hired dancers. And then from there, we went into rehearsal for, I'll say maybe about a month of intense rehearsals between Jaquel and all of the choreographers that put pieces on that tour. But yeah, so I got a chance to work with her a lot of one-on-one time, or, you know, teaching her the different movements that he wanted her to do, the different ways that he wanted her to move, or, you know, whatever the case may have been. However he needed me to assist him, that's what I would do, whether it be with Brittany or the backup dancers.
How many tour dates did you travel with them? Or?
Well, you know, I didn't travel with them, and typically, I mean, I know sometimes the choreographer will travel, but with this particular tour, they just wanted to do rehearsals, and then they took the whole tour party. And they were actually on tour for, like, I'm going to say maybe about a year and a half straight, maybe 2 years. That was a very long run on the circus tour. So,
were you like starstruck with working with her? How was she? Was she pretty cool, or?
Yeah, I think at first, like, I was really nervous to know that I would be working with her, like, so closely and one-on-one. And then also, at the time, of course, you know, she was going through the phase of ships and stuff like that. So this was kind of her coming back out.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't want to steer her wrong in that time, you know, where she had a lot of stuff going on. You want to help people to be the, you know, best performer they can be. So I was really nervous, like, okay, you know, is she going to spaz out on me? Like, is this going to be good? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is Britney Spears. Like, my gosh. But she was really, really sweet. She's really nice. Very soft-spoken during rehearsals, which is kind of a good thing, I guess, because it gives the artist a chance to really soak in all of the direction that they're being given, because it is a lot. But yeah, like, other than that, no problems. I mean, we would always joke about how like sometimes there was so many lyrics to so many songs that she had to remember, and like, you know, sometimes she wouldn't remember a lyric or two, and then she'd turn around and ask us like, you know, what's the lyrics? I don't think. We'd be like, we don't know, you wrote the song. You know?
It's typical of a dance teacher too. Like, what's the lyrics?
I can only imagine with her like how many lyrics she has to like keep up with. So, you know, no problem, here's your lyrics, and we keep it moving. But a great experience, and I definitely share that memory. If I ever do get to work with her again, I'd be more than happy to do so. But even to have worked with her, you know, just in that time, I'm so grateful for it, and to be able to share that is awesome.
When I watch artists and non-dancers, I mean singers who are turned into dancers, I always wonder, what are some things that you guys critique them on? Because is it the $1 million camera that makes them look so perfect, or it's technical cleaning, you know? But
right.
Do you get what I mean? You might have a singer who looks so perfect.
There's lots of training that goes into just the artist. Sometimes you have to schedule time to literally just go one-on-one with the artist, because a lot of times artists think that place in which they do a performance, they have to use the same amount of energy, the same amount of everything. Like, this is who I am, this is how I sing. And they need people like me and other people who are creative directors or choreographers to come in and say, hey, you know, if we're in a music video, we only have the bounds of this box. So you can't be like, you know, all over the place, because this is the shot. You know, you need to be calm, chill. You got to be moving right towards the camera. That way people can see things, and it doesn't look like, you know, you're not going to be caught looking crazy any kind of way. So it actually is a really tough on the artist. Like, I feel like most of the pressure from the choreographers and the directors, even more so than the dancers do. Because at the end of the day, the dancers are there to wallpaper that artist and to make them look good. So then they become the center of attention. They got to match, you know, the feel of everything going on around them.
Your work has been seen on The View, The Wendy Williams Show, 106 in Park, Late Night, and the other platforms we talked about earlier. I wasn't able to find anything on 106 in Park or like The View or Wendy Williams Show. So
yeah, 106 is recorded live. So for, you know, trying to gather video footage of performances there, because I didn't have anybody recording at the time. So I haven't had a chance to get access to that particular video. But I performed with B.o.B the day of his release for his second album, Strange Clouds. We did a very big launch on 106 in Park. We pretty much took over 106, and I think we did a set of like 6 songs. So I performed with him there, and that was actually my first time performing at 106. So there's no video, unfortunately, not right now. I'm gonna get my hands on it though. I'm determined to find that one.
So then for The View and the Monique Show, those were also B.o.B performances too?
Those were also B.o.B performances, but they weren't ones that I performed as a dancer in. They're ones that I add them to my resume because it's more so of my creative direction. B.o.B also has background singers that he uses sometimes, and I do their background singer choreography. And they're like the typical background singers. They're like, you know, they really move around a lot, so that when we don't have dancers, they're holding it down. So just the whole production and the stage direction, more so on like Wendy Williams and the Monique Show when he would perform. That's just what I'm doing creatively.
So now let's move on to talk about B.o.B. So B.o.B stands for Bobby. He's Bobby Ray, right?
Yeah, his name is Bobby Ray, and
what does B.o.B stand for again?
B.o.B, but he explains that B.o.B means whatever you can come up with for the acronym.
How did you start working with B.o.B? Like,
yeah, well, he's actually also he's from Atlanta as well. So I grew up in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Typically, Atlanta's really small, so you know a lot of the same people. So I've actually we've been in the same school before in the past. Went to school together. And
you did? I did not know that.
Yeah. School together, and then from there, you know, didn't have any connection. You know, people from middle school, you go to different high schools, and you don't, you know, hear from people that you met in middle school for a while. I knew he did music, and I knew I was in LA, so I figured if he's doing music, he'll probably end up in LA. So let him know that I'm there, just in case he may need, you know, some dancers or some choreography. I was really big on networking, and I still am. Really big on networking and just letting people know your moves so that they know that you're there, you know, right. And you get first dibs on things. So so that was all it was. I just let him know, sent let him know that I was living in LA, and that if he ever needed any type of choreography or dance services, hit me up. And he was actually working on his first album at the time, and really heavy with the label. He's with Atlantic, and so they needed somebody to kind of come in and help him with the creative stuff. So that's kind of how that started. I guess I was just kind of in the right place at the right time, and from there it just kind of transpired from everything from writing treatments to casting people for videos. I've done some styling. I've done up the stage, all kinds of stuff. So
what is? Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was looking over your bio. What is a treatment?
A treatment is basically the storyline video. When you watch a music video, the treatment is in written form. What's happening from start to finish in the music video.
So it's an outline?
Basically an outline. Basically an outline. It may have pictures in it, you know, reference pictures. Sometimes with video treatments, a director or producer may send like a link of some type of effect, a special effect we may use. Treatments can include anything from the type of equipment we're going to use to the type of loops and effects we're going to use in post-editing. It just kind of outlines all the technical stuff of what's going to happen with the video.
It's a storyboard, right?
Yeah, like a storyboard. Absolutely.
Okay. So not only are you a dancer, choreographer, director, you also went to school for makeup. Can you talk about where you went and how it improved your career when you were working with B.o.B?
Well, the reason I ended up in makeup school is kind of interesting, and it kind of has to do with my dance career. I had been living in LA for like 2 years already, and kind of going strong. Had gigs and my name out there, talking to a lot of people. But I was also in school the whole time. I was trying to pursue dance out there, which was kind of tough. I was at FITM, which is a Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, and I was studying graphic design, which I loved. But then eventually I realized, like, okay, I'm not going to be able to sit in front of the computer all these hours and still pursue dance. So I actually decided to take a break from school. What was supposed to be a break became not going back. But at the time it was a break. And in that break, I was going to end up getting a lot of dance opportunity. Well, it ended up going the opposite way. I didn't get too much action happening after I had decided to come out of school. And not because, I don't think it was because of anything with me. It's just sometimes the seasons or faster, just depending on what's going on. Sometimes get picked up, and then a season, they're no longer going to happen. So I had all these reservations, you know, on certain things that I thought were going to happen, and then, you know, a lot of things didn't transpire. So so I just needed something to kind of, something new, something different to kind of fill in the space. And I pursued makeup artistry school in LA. I saw that there was a program there for a year. I went to school 2 days a week, all day, and I learned everything from beauty makeup to special effects, which is my makeup, photography, all kinds of styles of makeup. So way more than just the beauty makeup stuff.
Was there a break during that time? Were you still working with B.o.B, or did?
No, this was actually before I started working with B.o.B as far as like videos and stuff.
Okay.
Everything at that time was just more so creative things like that, because his first album hadn't come out yet until 2010. So all that from 2007 to 2010, there was a process with him, you know, for things to come in the making. And then when the album came out, things really shot up. But I actually went to makeup school from 2009 to 2010. So okay. It was the year before I really started working with him heavily.
Now, how did you come up with your pieces for his tour, and where were you when you did your choreography?
Yeah, well, everything starts obviously with he'll always send me a song, because I guess the relationship is very organic. So anytime he has an idea that he thinks may become a big song one day, he'll send it to me ahead of time, and I'll just start moving to it so that I at least have it in my system for something that's to come. So I knew all of the tracks that were going to be on his upcoming album, his first album. I had already kind of started premeditating a lot of the movement and a lot of the feel of what needed to happen. Also, he's a live performer, so like he does a lot of live instrumentation while he's performing, and so I had to factor that in as well. Like, okay, how do we get this guy to get around rapping, you know, while perhaps holding a guitar or sitting at the piano? How do we make that interesting? So that's a lot of my process. I kind of start there. I like to start from being in the perspective of the audience, and I just figure out, what do I want to see? What would I like to see? What would entertain me, make me go wow? And that's the basis of how I move. I will tell you that when I first started doing choreography for him, and this is just how I feel. I don't know if people who were around me at the time noticed it, but I personally felt like all of my choreography, I was a very wordy choreographer, which meant that I can choreograph to the words better than the beat.
Yeah.
You know? So, and he's rapping super fast, so all of my movement was like literally to every single word that he would say. And I didn't know at the time that on the stage that didn't read very well to an audience, only because you got to think about people who don't know the rap. You know, what are they listening to? They're just listening to the beat and they're just bobbing their head. So if we're moving all super crazy fast to every single word, it's just kind of like, you know, a lot of stuff going on. So after I noticed that, I started to actually re-choreograph my whole set. We toured for the set that I choreographed, and once I realized that revelation just from watching YouTube videos, I was like, you know what, guys, we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board because I'm happy with what I've played, and I'm gonna re-choreograph every single piece. And when we choreographed it, I liked it better, he liked it better, audience was responding way better, and so I could tell that the change was good.
From him being a rapper and then transitioning into adding movement to his set list, how was he in rehearsal, or what did he do well with?
He did very well with, obviously he has good rhythm, which was great because, I mean, a lot of people that I've worked with, it starts there, and it's like, if you don't have rhythm, that means we gotta really start from the beginning. So it's always great when whoever you're working with has that solid basis of rhythm and can count, count their eights repeatedly. So he could do that. He was capable of that. And then what I did is I decided to watch him move. I would just turn on the song and I would tell him, you dance to it, you perform to it. I would take different things that he would do habitually and just create it and make it choreography.
Okay.
So it kind of was like
that one move where you like this, was that, that's
him. Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. I was watching that. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of counting, you see so many major choreographers creating these wonderful pieces, and do you think there's a process to it? Because, with music and counting and playing and even with rapping, it's all musicality and counting. So it's like, if you can figure out the process of how to to master counting, I mean, I feel like you can be a pretty good choreographer, right? Do you like to use, you said words, do you use sound effects or counts, or what?
I like to use words. I don't do it as much now. I like to transition between the words and the beat. I notice people when they do choreography more so to the beat, and they may not touch the words at all. I also like to. It kind of all depends with what track you're dancing to, and what, to me, what is what's going to be most important, because that's what stands out to the masses. There's a song and it has all the instrumentation, but everybody is just hitting that 808 or that snare. You know that you need to move that snare because that's what everybody's gonna rock to. That's what they feel already. So so I think that choreographers have to start there with just saying, what are the people, what parts do they like, what movement do they do when the song comes on, and from there, and then just kind of smash it up and put all your best moves in there. You've got everybody's attention. So, but it is very mathematical,
right? Because I feel like people look at artists and rappers and they look at them like gods, but because they don't understand the process. And I'm not saying that rappers aren't talented, because in order to master rap or singing or writing, you have to know the process and you have to study that and perfect it. But until the people who don't understand that there's resting in dance or music, or there isn't. There's rules that you have to follow.
Right.
Like until if you don't know that, then they look at people who do music like, oh my God, they're God. Like that's not bad. But what I'm saying is once you see the process, once you understand it, it kind of takes the magic away. And maybe, you know, some people shouldn't know the magic because they enjoy the magic of it. But like once you see it, it's like, you like, because I think about it all the time, like, okay, how can I want to be a choreographer, and I'm like, or a rap, I do rap too. But I look at it like, okay, these people have done this before, and like, if I can master counting and, you know, musicality, then I can be a better choreographer than I am now. So that's what I'm working on too. I was just expressing that viewpoint.
I agree with you.
You got to perform behind Obama, right? So did you get to meet him, or?
I didn't meet him. I actually, B.o.B got invited to do the It was kind of like a rally back when Obama was campaigning, and the first time around, because we actually went back his second time, and we performed at another one of his events. Apparently, he's a major B.o.B fan personally, and asked for these two events, particularly who he wanted to come and perform. He personally wanted B.o.B to come, so he had the dancers and his full band. I mean, we're talking bass, guitar, drums, keys, the full band, everybody, and we performed at the rally. We did like a set of maybe 3 or 4 songs, and afterwards we all got the opportunity to meet him. Each of us got a chance to meet him, shake his hand. We all took pictures, and I'll have to send that picture to you as well, that I have with him. But yeah, it was I couldn't believe it. The funny thing about that is we had just come off stage, so all of us, and they, you know, if you want, you're gonna have to go meet him. And we're just like, it's like, you know, we're stains all, we can't meet the president, sweaty, 2 minutes. So we all had to like figure out what it's like, you know, and now we're sweating from nerves on top of sweat from, and so to make it happen. So, you know, it's kind of a funny thing amongst all of us. You know, I don't think he knew how much we were all really sweating, but he thanked us for coming, and he was really nice. Very cool guy. What you see, what you get. You know, and stuff. He's very much like that.
I don't know how much time you have left, because you said you have to go by 5, right?
We have about 20 minutes.
Okay,
left.
Cool. I'll try to hit the most important stuff here. Okay. So we got to meet Rihanna as well on the tour, or what is that? Was that what did he open for Rihanna on tour?
Rihanna, she had opened and one was B.o.B, and basically how it worked. They had the 2 openers alternate shows, so we got to do maybe 11 shows on her tour. This was not a tour for B.o.B where he had dancers, but he had his full band, and then also he was performing on stage, so we had access to, you know, different lighting effects, video effects, and things like that. So that was my part, and all of that was to make sure that all direction was good, lighting was good, that, you know, what needs to be played on the big screens are playing. And, so, but in the midst of all of that, I got a chance to her and to hang out with her dancers, and I even had a friend, one of her dancers as well. So it was kind of like a environment. I mean, once you tour with people, they kind of become fans, because I mean, you're bus together, so it's not much you can hide, you know, from each other. So touring is meant for that.
Oh, so where were some of the places that you guys toured on the tours? One memorable spot that you can remember?
Of course, favorite spot is that I've been to is Tokyo.
Oh, really?
I've always been
Wow.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of the whole, Harajuku movement and that whole lifestyle. I love, color and design and, just really trippy stuff. So, so I'm so excited to that in person and hands on a lot of that stuff that I bring back home, different, clothing and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed Tokyo, and that was one of the stops that we performed in with B.o.B. All through 2010 and 2011, we were traveling the globe, maybe like twice around, almost nonstop too. So.
And you went to Sweden, I saw on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we've done
or wait,
Russia.
Switzerland or Sweden?
We've done Sweden and Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
We've done, of course, London. We've done the UK, lots of places there. We've just done South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. He had a show there, and I didn't perform in it, did some creative direction, but I actually went on it so that I could teach a workshop out there, a dance workshop. So,
okay.
Cool.
So speaking of teaching, can you remember a studio or a place that you taught at that's memorable? Did you teach any workshops in Tokyo, or was it?
I didn't teach any workshops in Tokyo. The only out-of-country one would be the South Africa one that I just did in September, which was had to be by far one of my favorites, not only because it was in another country. I traveled really far to get there, very long, but that one was just really special because that was my first time in Africa, and I got to experience the people, and the dancers out there are just on fire, like they're on fire. So so that was a great one. But I've also taught in Austin, Texas at Dance Austin. I do a lot of studios here at home. I teach private classes out of Tri-Action Life Center in Stone Mountain. Of course, and then Performing Arts Institute, that's in Decatur. I teach Performing Arts Center. That's another kids class that I teach. Or Soul Matter.
You and B.o.B. are you still working together, or?
Together right now, of course. So I get pulled in for the creative part. So if he's in a process of working on an album or just kind of in the studio, there's not now. I know that he is inching forward to releasing a project very soon. I won't do release dates or anything like that. So right now I am in the process of working with him on a lot of very cool, very awesome things that I'm so excited to be able to put out there and have my name on, because the platform is really allowing me to take my creative direction stuff to the next level. So I think this next project that he puts out, I know that I'm putting one of my best feet forward, my best foot forward to just really make the visuals amazing, make dancing that's on the just eye-catching. I really want to push the barrier with this opportunity. So
we always talk about being successful. Can you talk about a moment or struggling, like when you were coming up, and how did you handle that?
Well, I know for sure, for me it's pretty personal.
Or did you not struggle?
No, I mean I had very great parents. They were very supportive of my dance career, so that's a major thing, because I meet kids.
Well, maybe not like the money side of things, but
my younger sister, she's 2 years younger than me, but she was always, in my opinion, the better dancer, even though she was younger. She just had a better sense of movement, and it was just natural. She was born, just that natural movement in her body. And for me, mine had to be very rehearsed. It had to be very, I had to make sure that I practiced the moves that I was do at the birthday party on the weekend or something. I was very strategic as a mover. So I was not the best dancer. And you'll see that when I send you some of this stuff that I'm gonna send you for the videos. Because it has always been Tiffany at all. I think it took my sister to get a lot of praise and accolades for how amazing she was at dancing, and I think I was always after that, because she was the younger sister, so it's supposed to be like, hold up now, I'm supposed to have this under control. I'm the older one, watch me too. But because she was so intriguing, more people would you know, naturally watch her. And of course I would too. Like I used to love to watch her move because she really was talented, and she still dances now and teaches as well. But I think growing up with that complex, always having that kind of hanging over my head, feeling, you know, like a little underdogish and a little like, you know, you're good, but you're just not enough. That type of thing really held me down kind of when I started to do some auditioning in LA. Mm-hmm. That insecurity, because auditioning in LA is like no joke. I mean, you can't have an ounce of insecure in your body, because mm-hmm. it's so full out, and you have to catch the attention of the people that I mean, you really can't hold it. And I think that held me back a lot, always thinking other people were better, and I would take 2 steps back myself and hold myself to that. But now that I'm in a position where I understand my power as a choreographer and what I offer to the industry, that's really my main thing, is that I want to offer something different to the industry with my name on it. Like, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. There's a million people doing it. Great, but I want something special, and I want people to remember it in a certain type of way. That's just my personality since I was a kid. So, you know, very direct, like I want it to be how I want it. What is your thoughts on dancers and choreographers doing concept videos? I mean, we're in the digital age. Everything is in our, if you're gonna come up and you want to reach the people, you need to do it with access to these phones, because that's just what everybody's on, whether it's an iPad right. or whether it's a computer, all technology right now. So for people like Will, Tiffany, and all these, I mean, even broken the internet before his videos, major artists, because he on his dance video use on their actual, so it's like lane here for this, and people who are gravitating towards this whole concept of video movie, it's great. I mean, if I didn't grow up around it, which means that for me to put a lot, I have to, okay, you know, oh, I'm supposed to do a music video, but it's only dance in it. I would like to do one. I've never tried one before, just because I guess I'm kind of cool and just haven't, you know, the technology to try one. But well, hey, you know what? Maybe we could do one. Have you met Will the Beast at all? Yeah, I actually met Will the Beast years ago in Atlanta when he was. I don't know if he actually in Atlanta, but I would see him over at Crossroads. It's a rehearsal studio for most artists and their dancers and stuff. Working and practicing for Kane's tour, I think, I'm not, because I know he's been on a few runs, but I met him then. You were practicing in one video, another artist, everybody will kind of come to meet each other, and you know. So I met him then, and that you see people, you know, different places, different countries. Sometimes you may run into them, or of course in LA, I run into him quite a bit if I'm ever visiting there. But yeah, I would love to interview him someday. Like, he's got a great story. I mean, even, you know, down to some of his hardships, just resilience is just inspiring, very inspiring. So I feel like he's reversed the dance industry. Like, he has the dance industry in his hand. You know what I mean? Like, before, what I meant by reversed is if you wanted to be seen, I know I've said this before in other videos, but if you wanted to be seen by the masses, you had to be behind Janet. You had to be behind Michael. Yeah. Now it's like, you don't have to do, you got to be behind him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, it's crazy that, you know, that we have that power now. Because like before, without the internet, we didn't, as choreographers, we didn't have a voice or a way to tell our story. Yeah, it was all kind of, you know, there, you know, a friend would tell you about a choreographer somewhere, but never a place where we could all just access it just by a click of a button. So the best time for dancers to teach right now, because it's visual, dance visual, and people like to see it. So what current projects are you working on right now? Can you talk about Print Life, your artist with Demetria McKinney, and anything else you want to kind of talk about that you have going on? So Currently, I'm working with Demetria McKinney. She's actually an actress. You've seen her in like Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns and a few other Tyler Perry productions. Ricky Smiley show. She performs on there as well. Mm-hmm. She's actually going after her first love, which is singing and R&B music. And I started working with her maybe about a year ago. She released a single called Keep It 100, and she had an audition for Choreographers, a very low-key audition, not, you know, a big one. But she met with a couple of choreographers to see how they vibe to her song. And I went and I danced for her to the song. And next thing you know, calling and she wants me to choreograph her video. So I was honored because I grew up, you know, kind of watching her on TV. Never knew that she sang, but I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. You know, people already know who she is. So so now I get to be a part of her first ever, you know, singing venture. And so since then, over the past year, she's done The Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's a reality TV show. I showcased my choreography during one of the episodes on the trip to Puerto Rico. She took 2 of the dancers and they actually did the choreography that I came up with for her show. And now she performs it on tour. She's on Funk Fest tour. So that's kind of something that works for me while I sleep kind of a little bit, because I can choreograph it, put it on dancers, and then they go and they do it. But I can still see my work pop up, you know, on TV or on different platforms. So I really think that that's cool. But I'm working on that. And then I also do freelance makeup. That's kind of whoever calls, you know, whatever type of gigs I get. I would really love something in TV and film, working on some type of horror movie or something like that.
Ooh,
so
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So, and then what's Print Life? Is that a clothing line for?
No, it's actually just, it's kind of just a title to my lifestyle, because I have a obsession with like cheetah print and leopard print.
Okay.
I called it Print Life because a lot of things that I have are, I buy them in cheetah print. So pretty much you'll see me with something like that every day. So I call it Print Life. And eventually I do want to take it and expand it into a brand, because I know that I'm not the only girl or whoever that actually enjoys, you know, cheetah print and leopard print. So I do want to take it because it's something that people relate to me, and I want to evolve it into possibly a clothing line. I don't know. I have a lot of things in mind for what I want to do as far as, you know, my longer career, something, you know, work, giving back, things like that. So so Print Life will kind of resonate through all of that. I also have a 6-month-old Bengal cat, which is like made from an Asian leopard. So
oh, really?
I have like a little baby leopard.
I almost forgot. So you were here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, yes. Right? And you work. You're a good friend. A good friend of mine as well, Cedric Gardner, right? So,
yep.
So was B.o.B performing at Summerfest, and then you guys just decided to have the experience audition with Soul Matter? Or how did that work?
Yes, actually really interesting. Well, a lot of my friends, you know, if they know that I dance with B.o.B and they see that he's going to be performing in their city, they'll hit me up before I even know that I'm, you know, supposed to be going there. And they'll be like, hey, I saw that you're supposed to be here. So since you're going to be here, kind of how it happened with Ted. He saw that B.o.B was on the bill, and he called me and he asked me if I was going. We actually didn't have dancers scheduled. So I was not going to be Milwaukee, but then he was like, okay, you know, you should come out here, you know, teach with Soul Matter. I want to sit with you and do this gig. And then I got, well, if B.o.B is going to be out, and see if help me do some audition. And so he was open to that, and how this whole Soul Matter Prime audition came about. Networking, and once again, from who in touch with, and just kind of, you know, work with them and make things happen like that time. So that was
oh really? Oh, okay. So like I was watching that video with you. You talked about the difference is like the community aspect. There was a very well, you know, knit community feeling when you were teaching in Milwaukee compared to Atlanta. So I don't know if you could kind of talk about how it is in Atlanta compared to Milwaukee, and how dancers treat each other?
Well, because now, I guess as Atlanta advances as far as like the entertainment industry, everything's moving way fast paced. Like, I mean, we're having auditions just about every other day. You've got dancers being hired for things just about every other day. So it's almost a little bit like Hollywood, just kind of like a little junior Hollywood, a little bit. Not so much as in people don't speak to each other on purpose. It's just that people are busy. Thank God everybody has work and everybody's moving and doing doing things and creating opportunity. But I think that before Atlanta became that, we were kind of like Milwaukee, a very close-knit community. Everybody knew everybody. You know, we loved to just train together. If it didn't have to be for anything, that basically it didn't have to be for a concept video. It didn't have to be for a video of our dance class. It didn't have to be for a performance that I'm gonna upload. It was just to get together and just dance. So I felt that same thing when I was in Milwaukee, because I'm like, you know, I understand people in Milwaukee they have me out here because they want exposure to the industry. So you still have the beauty of that, you know, that sense of community without having so much exposure to the industry that it, you know, makes you feel like you can't talk to the next person or say what's up to the next person. But yeah.
Last question, two-part question.
All right.
So first, what advice would you give dancers coming up in the industry right now who want to, you know, be professional dancers? And then what are, you know, some of your goals for the future?
Well, my advice is to, right now, this is a time where you can make big opportunity and make big profit off of simply being yourself. I mean, we have Instagram and Twitter, and we see people up and down our timelines that we laugh at and we get entertained by.
I forgot.
So I just think that, you know, being yourself, being yourself, and no matter what type of audition or what type of,
But like, so but you did get the messages though, right? But they're just
always, you know, stay true to who you are. If you have a certain dance style, keep it. I promise it'll become popular. You know, one day you're gonna, what do you think? You're gonna get accolades for it. You know, so. And then moving forward, I'm open to anything creative. I want to be a part of production, a lot more behind the scenes as opposed to on the stage and on the camera. But every now and then, I do get this really crazy itch to like be on the picture as well. I'll be like, okay, I need to find something to wrap it. So I'm hoping to do more performing because I've been on a choreography kick for about 2 years now straight. So yeah, that's on my plans. More teaching, more reaching out to kids, and hopefully more workshops and more interviews and
well, thank you so much, Tiffany. I appreciate you talking with the Alliance Dance Network today. Well,
all right.
Have a good day and enjoy class.
You too. Enjoy talking to you.
Bye, Tiffany. Bye.
Bye.